You are watching Math with McMurdo. Here's your host, McMurdo.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's look at part 2 of a story. Part 1 is already on the tube of you. So if you want to figure out where the story begins, you'll want to go back and look at that. Since the front gate is always locked, Lucy had to find a different way in. She saw an open window on the second floor and decided to use her grappling hook to get there. Once the hook was set, she had to climb. With each step of the climb, she moved some amount of centimeters. It took her some amount of steps to reach the window. How far off the ground was the window? Mr. Luke, if I was going to solve this problem, and since it doesn't have numbers, what would you do? Ojos, mijos, we've done this. Yes, sir.
You multiply the number of centimeters by the number of steps.
Good. We're multiplying the number of centimeters times the number of steps. That's going to equal D, the distance off the floor. When writing equations, you have to know why you're putting the numbers where you're putting them. You have to know why you're putting the numbers where you're putting them. Yes, ma'am. I don't know. You're going to have to go watch part 1 video to know why she's going with the grappling hook. So let's say, and I'm just going to pretend, but let's say she moved 261 centimeters every time she took a step, and she took 18 steps. Well then, we would put the number of centimeters, which we have here, is 261, and the number of steps, which is 18, and that's going to equal our distance off the floor, or off the ground, that the window is. What is our first step, Jasmine?
So we'd have to estimate.
Estimate. You're the best, Jasmine. Cole, what do we want? Explain how you want to estimate this.
I'm going to take 261 down to 250 and 18 to 20.
Now, explain to me why you took 261 down to 250.
I took 261 down to 250 because 250 is halfway and I don't want to go to the next 100 when I could just go 11 down.
Okay. Can you, in your head, multiply 25 times 2?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so we don't have to change them a huge amount if we can do the estimate in our head, because that's the point of the estimate. So what is called 250 times 20? What's 2 times 25?
50. So
50?
5,000.
5,000. 25 times 2 is 50, plus this 0 and this 0 go at the back, because if you work it out, it's going to show it up that way. Now we have to do some actual multiplication aids. So if we do 261 times 18, there's several different ways we can do it. We have the standard algorithm. And when you're doing the standard algorithm, what we're actually doing here is I'm multiplying 261 times 8, because the 8's in the ones place. I'm multiplying 261 times 10, because the 1 is in the tens place. So I could do it that way. I could make it 260 and 1. So I take it down and I put it in its expanded form. And I could multiply it by 10 and 8. And then I would add all those products together. So there are two different ways we could do it. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 6 is 48. 8 times 2 is 16 plus 4 is 20. So 261 times 8 is, that's a 0. 2088. I'm just breaking them into expanded form and then multiplying it. Now, I'm going to have to put a 0 because we're going to the tens place. A 0 because we're going to the tens place. Now we're multiplying 261 by 10. What's 1 times 1?
2. 1.
1. What's 1 times 6?
6.
What's 1 times 2?
2.
So let me ask you this. If I asked you to multiply 261 times 10, you could do it in your head and you'd get this, right? Yes, no, maybe? Yeah. Because you know to move the decimal point back one place and put a 0 there. That's what you're doing. You're moving the decimal point. Now we find the sum of these two products. And we get 8 ones, 9 tens, 6 hundreds, and 4 thousands. Well, let's check and see if we get that here. What's 2 times 1? 2 plus 3 zeros. 2,000. 60 times 10?
600.
600. 10 times 1? 200 times 8?
1,600.
1,600. 60 times 8? 480. 1 times 8? 8. Now if I add those together, if I take and I add 2,000 plus 1,600, and I like to put the most number of digits down to the least number of digits because it's easy for me. 600, 480, and 10, and 8. Am I adding all these together? 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 8. 8. So I have 8 ones. Does that match up with what I have here? Yes. 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 8 plus 1? 9. Does that match up what I have there? 6 plus 6 is? 12 plus 4?
18.
16. Does that match up with what I have there? 1 plus 2 plus 1? 4. Multiplication can be done in many ways, and I don't care which ways you decide to do it. It can be done in many ways, I don't care which ways you decide to do it, as long as you're successful. But if you paid attention, you found here, we're only multiplying one digit at a time. Times the ones place, times the tens place. So I had to be able to multiply it by 8, and I had to be able to multiply by 1. I know you all know your 8s, and you're still studying your 1s, and that's fine. Same thing here. I'm only multiplying one digit at a time. Some of you use the lattice method. Some of you use some other methods. If you can consistently get it correct, Mr. McMurdo does not care what method you use. I don't care what method you use as long as you can consistently get it right. That's it. The estimation is our estimate close to our actual product.
Yes.
Yes. And I need to tell you now, if you don't estimate and you get an answer that is way crazy, like 255 when you multiplied 39 times 75, which many of you got, by law, according to one of our senators that I will not mention, Hispanic last name, I have to make fun of you if you don't estimate and you get an answer way wrong than the actual answer. I have to follow his lead. I'm just telling you. It's not my fault. It's what I'm required to do.
What about stepping on people's feet?
Yeah, what about stepping
Well, I'll step on your feet while I'm making fun of you.
This has been Math with McMurdo. Bye bye.